What is going on, guys? This is me, So I remember a few weeks or months ago, I made a bunch of videos actually about the most annoying ban cards and if they deserve to get unbanned one day. And I went through every single one of them in like 3 episodes, and now I figured, you know what, might as well do the same thing but with limited cards. There is more limited cards, I believe, in the ban list than any other kind of card. Semi-limits, there's not that much, but to be fair, there's a lot of ban cards. So yeah, correct me if I'm wrong, but whatever. Anyways, today I'm here with part 1, so this is definitely going to be a very interesting one because a lot of the cards in the limited section, I remember being limited, I remember them being limited ever since they existed. It's actually kind of crazy. Yeah, definitely going to be a really nice one, and you guys let me know what you want for part 2. Anyways, before we go any further, I would really appreciate you already know it, friendly reminder to smash the like and subscribe button. And also a huge shoutouts to my sponsors Inspire TCG as well as Dueling. Please check both of them out, links will always be in the description box below. And with that being said, let's get right into it. Alright, so obviously I have 4 categories, so never getting unlimited, like absolutely never, it's in red. Requires errata or new product, so it could be like any of the two. And then probably over time, so maybe it's gonna happen, but I don't think it's gonna happen like now. And then this is like literally just the cards that I don't even think matter at all. So the first one is D'Agosto Emerald. Honestly, I don't really see this card being relevant even as a 3 of because nobody's playing it as a 1 of, and the last time it was annoying in multiple copies of was in the Fusion Substitute Zodiac format, but Broad Bowl is already banned, and you can argue that without Broad Bowl, D'Agosto Emerald in itself is not really a degenerate card, so I think nobody cares about this card. It can definitely go to 3, and it wouldn't change a thing. Instant Fusion, on the other hand, is like the exact opposite because this card is completely unfair. And if this card doesn't get an errata to at least negate the effect of the monster that you summon, or like lock you under fusion summoning only or something, there's no shot this card could ever go anywhere up to like more than 1, and if anything, I want this card to get banned. So I think it's gonna require an errata, but it definitely is possible. 1 for 1 is also a very interesting one. I can't really think of like any errata that would make the card like logic, like make it once per turn, not even. Negate the effect of the monster that you summon, there's still gonna be some nice targets for the card. Honestly, it's kind of like that, it's really hard for me to just like think about a way to like make this card go to 3 without like completely destroying everything about it. And also we're in a level 1 format right now. Level 1 fires are ridiculous. So I really can't see this card going into a different direction. So unfortunately, I'm gonna have to put it in never getting unlimited, just because I can't really think of any errata other than make it once per turn. And that's not gonna be enough. It's still a broken card even then. Phantom Sky Blaster, I think, is one of the worst cards on the ban list. I can't believe it's still there. It got limited because of its interaction with like Hornet drones and the ability of just generating a bunch of tokens. It was irrelevant before Lynx, but now with Lynx, Sky Blaster actually kind of does something, but it's not even like insane. So honestly, who cares about Sky Blaster? It can go to 3, nobody's gonna play the card. Harpy's Feather Duster is also a really weird one. So the thing is, in the OCG, I remember like when they went from 0 to 1 Regeki, and then 2 to 3 Regeki, and then we were like, is the same thing gonna happen for Duster? I mean, there's also like 3 Lightning Storm now too, so could we see multiple Dusters one day? Probably. I don't even think it needs an errata, it just needs like natural power creep, and eventually this card at 2 or 3 could make sense. So I'm actually gonna have to put it here. I think we can all agree on this one though. The reasoning behind this is because there's just so many cards out there in Yu-Gi-Oh! That does pretty much the same thing as Duster. I mean, there's Lightning Storm, there's gonna be Heavy Storm eventually, it's just a matter of time before that one gets unbanned too. So it's just, there's so many alternatives that I think Konami, what their approach will be is that the new trap decks they will print out will all be like Labyrinth 2.0, where they're all trap decks in disguise. I mean, they're really like combo decks, but featuring purple cards. Honestly, that's the best way to put it. Anyways, Substitute, this card sucks. Like, it's not even good. I can't believe this card's banned. Like, honestly, other than like weird FTKs, it does nothing. Beatrice, this card is... this card should be banned. I also think this card is really unhealthy for the game, but if you don't want to ban the card and you want to keep it at 1, it doesn't really matter whether there's 1, 2, or 3 Beatrice, because 1 already does most of the harm. So if you really want to push Burning Abyss, well, first of all, don't play Burning Abyss because the deck is like super far behind. But I mean, maybe if there's a new product. So that one's, I think, different than Instant Fusion where this one needs an errata. Beatrice, there's really gonna have to be like a new push of Burning Abyss. Which, by the way, is 100% feasible because I think Rubik, Malabranch of the Burning Abyss, the tuner, it states that it can only be used for the synchro summon of a Burning Abyss synchro monster, but the only one is Virgil. So otherwise, they would have mentioned that it can only be used for the synchro summon of Virgil, not for a Burning Abyss synchro. So maybe this telegraphs that eventually one day we will be getting Burning Abyss support. So if you want some new Burning Abyss cards, if you want to be summoning Dante in 2027, Jesus, you already know what to do. Smash the like button. Thank you. Anyways, next up is there can only be one. It's a Floodgate. It should not get unlimited. I mean, same thing with Gozen Match and Rivalry. So, you know, like, human evolution told us to always improve over time, right? We're not supposed to go downwards or backwards. I mean, backwards, I guess, if we, like, made a mistake and we want to correct it. Limiting these cards was not a mistake. Thank you so much, Konami. I love you. If anything, these cards should get banned. I'm all against shutting down core mechanics in Yu-Gi-Oh! That prevent people from having fun. And these cards are just not fun at all. It doesn't matter if fair decks can use these cards against unfair decks. That's never a good argument. So there is no shot that these cards, after several years of existing, honestly, because they're pretty old, other than there can only be one, can come back, honestly. So yeah. Red Rose Dragon, this card doesn't need much to get unlimited, honestly. It was limited because of the Brave Token engine. You could go into like the, what's his face, Shooting Riser Dragon, and then Needle Fiber and do some things, but it doesn't matter. Like, nobody plays the Brave Token engine, and nobody plays, well, obviously nobody plays Needle Fiber. I hope not. The card's slightly banned for a reason. And Shooting Riser Dragon also nobody plays. I believe it's that 1 or 2. I forgot, actually. Yeah. Anyways, Morphing Jar, who cares? It's a flip effect monster, so it sucks. Cyber Jar, same mentality, honestly. So just flip effect monsters are bad. Even if they're good, like, their effects don't suck. They suck as cards because of how slow they are. Okay, Sekka's Light is one of the most interesting ones. It's between probably overtime and requires new product. Not necessarily an errata, because I actually think the mechanic of not being able to use spells for extra power is actually very fair. And it's not even like you can say, oh, it's good in Super Heavy Samurai. Not really. You're not playing spell cards, but kind of. You're playing Pendulum cards, which is basically a spell card. So I think there's like basically nothing that can play Sekka's Light, and because of that, if you really want to sacrifice your ability to play like Imperms, Talent, all those powerful cards, just for a draw 2 that you're not always gonna see, because you're making your deck worse only for one card, I think that's very fair. So personally, I think Sekka's Light 100% can get unlimited, and nobody would care whatsoever. Armageddon Knight is one of the most touchy ones. Honestly, I don't know what to say. I don't know where to put it. I think it's gonna require new product in order to make, you know, the dark attribute, like, I mean, the dark attribute has always been unfair. It's the best attribute in the game, right? It's kind of crazy. Second place maybe Light or Earth, very debatable, but dark has just been unfair since day one. So it's hard for me to really want Armageddon. I mean, it might happen. It might happen. Reinforcement of the army, on the other hand, is too good. You can argue that Bonfire is basically Rhoda, but not really, because Bonfire searches a Pyro monster only. Pyro monsters are objectively worse than Rhoda. It's only because of Snake Eye Ash and Populous that this is currently not true, but outside of these two cards, Bonfire is pretty bad. And also, Bonfire is once per turn, so drawing multiples is not good, but drawing multiple Reinforcement of the Army is very powerful. And again, the Word Toolbox is objectively stronger. So I really don't think Reinforcement of the Army could go to 3. Maybe to 2 if they really want to push it, but I really doubt it, honestly. I think it's gonna stay at 1 forever. Exodia the Forbidden One. Okay, so this one is going to stay limited until the death of Yu-Gi-Oh! Not because of its power level, but because of how iconic it is. It's just, I believe, this is my personal opinion, but I think the reason why the Exodia pieces are at 1 is to symbolize their uniqueness in the game and how you can only really have one piece of Exodia. One, like, distinct piece, right? Imagine having, like, 2 legs or 2 arms. I know there was that one guy in Battle City that played, like, multiple copies. That guy was a cheater anyways, like, even outside of that, so I don't know, maybe Exodia, multiple pieces. It wouldn't change much to the game, honestly. Nobody would really care. So yeah, it's between never getting unlimited and who cares. Ironically, right? It's like, it's never getting unlimited, but like, if it does, then people are just gonna be like, okay, sure. Foolish Burial, I think this card is in a very similar boat as Armageddon Knight. It's a little too good. I don't think it's gonna get unlimited because its effect is too simple. It's too powerful. I mean, it does a lot, actually, for like, I think there's, what, like 3 words? Send one monster from your deck to the grave. Okay, yeah, there are a little more, but still, this is like one of the most simple yet effective cards ever printed in Yu-Gi-Oh! I don't want this card to ever be once per turn. I don't want it to get errata'd. I want it to stay loyal to its nature forever. And because of that, I think this card is very fair as a one-of. Otherwise, we might start complaining about how broken it is. Okay, Slash Draw is the perfect example of a card that needs an errata to get unbanned. It's just that the thing about Slash Draw is that it leads to FTKs, and FTKs are never healthy for the game. Even in the anime, this card was still used as an FTK. This is crazy. The thing is, FTKs give a very bad image of Yu-Gi-Oh! Because any card game should be based on having fun and interacting with your opponent. And when you're just like going Unga Bunga, activate a bunch of cards and kill you, you're not really doing that. So, you know, Slash Draw, I don't want you to be like a 3 because of, again, PTSD from Danger, Dark World, Slash Draw FTK. Shoutouts to Lithium. Yeah, Firewall, Grinder Golem. Yeah, this is not fun. Anyways, final countdown. Nobody cares about this card. Nobody's been playing it for years. Can't believe it's at 1. Honestly, who cares? It's probably gonna take a while before getting unlimited, but it doesn't matter. Honestly, like, deadass, who cares about this card? 1 DFPs, this card also sucks. I mean, it's like a worst upstart. The only difference is that your opponent can't kill you, but like, your opponent goes +1 and you go break even, so that's a nice deck you got there. It's only good in bullshit rogue deck, I mean bullshit stun decks, but those decks are not real anyways, and the meta is super fast. So a card like 1 DFPs that gives you 1 turn when your opponent can go like +10 on your ass, not really good. So I also think 1 DFPs is dog shit and can definitely go back to 3 any day of the week. Okay, Bestials, very interesting. So again, these cards would need new product to be pushed. Either like some new bestial monsters or some new dragons overall. I don't think these cards are gonna rot in the limited section forever. All it takes is for Konami to push like a new light and dark deck, and people will be like, oh yeah, where's our bestials? And then Konami's gonna be like, oh yeah, there you go. Yeah, here's more copies of Magnamut, I guess. And the OCG, every single one of them is limited except Saronir, I think. Saronir being the only relevant one in Despia as well. So people are not really using Bestials as hand traps, but rather as like real cards in their strategy. Magnamut, on the other hand, is a little too generic, so it makes sense why it's at 1. But yeah, I could see it getting unlimited one day, no problem. Danger Jackalope, this card also needs to like get see new product to be pushed. It's actually a very fair card. Same thing applies for Danger Tsuchinoko. I have no problem with the Dangers overall. I don't even think they're that bad for the game because there's Droll and Logbird. There's like inherent counters anyways. Dark World being able to hand loop you is another thing. That's another story for another day. But yeah, Jackalope, Tsuchinoko, who cares? Honestly, like, all it really takes is like for new Dark World cards or new Danger cards to come out, and we could like definitely see like 1 more Jackalope, 1 more Tsuchinoko every single ban list until we eventually get every single Danger back to 3. And again, it's really only 2 Danger monsters anyways, right? I mean, Nessie had the same treatment, and Nessie is a 3 now. I forgot the name of the card. Gem Knight, Diamond thingy. This card is not fair. This one, on the other hand, it needs an errata. It's not like new product. I don't like this card at all because, again, it leads to FTK, so it's in the same category as Slash Draw. I might as well place all of them here. So yeah, these 3 require an errata. This is product. This is maybe product, but like honestly, I don't even know at this point. Product. This card is just not fair at all. Blaster Dragon, Ruler of Infernos. So this card sucks. I think like it should be in the Who Cares section, but what's gonna happen with Konami is that they want to release the Fire Dragons, I think, incrementally when there's new attributes like pushing the Dragon Ruler. So for example, the first time we saw Tempest getting unbanned, we got like the Armed Dragon Thunder monster that Chaz played in the anime, well, kind of like a revamped version of them. So it made sense, right? They're Dragon Wind, and now we're getting, you know, like it's the Year of Fire, so it makes sense that Blaster is getting unbanned. Red Ox also got unbanned, but we're still missing Tidal. So the Tidal, maybe we're gonna get it next year if it's gonna be the Year of Water, which I actually think it is. We saw like the animation thing, and Garunix was fighting against an Atlantean monster, if I recall correctly. So this might represent that we're going to be getting water cards next year. And again, just the Dragon Rulers are just like the perfect epitome, like the symbol of the attributes and the support for them. So I think it just makes sense that they want to give us more Dragon Rulers every time there's like new decks matching those attributes. Tearlaments Merly, that is, I mean, to be fair, there's a lot of like Tearlaments monsters. This one's probably the best Tearlaments because it's sendable off of Sprint. So, to be fair, Sharin is also broken, Havnis is also broken. Oh my god, they're literally all insane. Yeah, requires new product. I mean, that's the easiest question here. Not even. I actually disagree. Tearlaments doesn't necessarily need new product because it's already kind of getting destroyed by the ban list, by the several ban list. We got like the Shizus that just got murdered. I think this card just can come back out of nowhere, and as well as like some other Tearlaments cards. So I actually think they're kind of getting more fair and fair. I mean, Kit Kalos is already banned. Yeah, I don't even think there's gonna be new Tearlaments support anytime soon, unless Konami wants to like revisit the Fallen of Abaz, Jesus, Visa Starfrost lore, which I don't think will happen. Monster Reborn is one of the most interesting cards here. I don't know where to put it, honestly. I don't know if Konami wants this card to be as iconic as Exodia, because it definitely could happen. This card has been limited forever. But honestly, in terms of power level, this card is very fair. So maybe I'm gonna put it in the same boat as Harpy's Feather Duster, as in, this card I can easily see come back to 3 one day in the future. It's a very fair card. It doesn't really do anything degenerate. It's not a starter either. It can definitely lead to bricks. Being able to revive back your opponent's monsters is really cool. It makes it like a really nice asset in mirror matches. I can't really tell for sure if it'll rely on just time or new product, and I don't think it's ever gonna get an errata because, again, how classic it is. Like, everybody who knows Yu-Gi-Oh! Knows about Monster Reborn, Pot of Greed, Exodia, Blue Eyes, Dark Magician. So yeah, this card is definitely safe from erratas. Red Ox and Blaster, as well as Tempest, they're all in the same boat, honestly. There's really no reason for me to waste any time here. And Astrograph is one of the most interesting ones, so pendulums just keep getting destroyed. It really is, like, I mean, it's subjective whether it's gonna come over time or whether when we're going to be getting new pendulum support. Probably though, because I mean, we could have gotten Kirin when we got the new Magic Spectre support from Phantom Nightmare. Didn't happen though, so I don't know if it's just like Konami forgetting about the existence of pendulums. But pendulums are not in a good spot right now. As long as anti-spell is a thing, it's yeah, it's not good. So I think what they're gonna do is that they're gonna ban anti-spell and then they're gonna unban some pendulum cards. But yeah, whether it's in this category or this one doesn't really change anything to my life. I couldn't care less. But yeah, that's pretty much it for this video, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and let me know your thoughts about these limited cards, as well as the cards that you want me to cover for next part. And yeah, that's pretty much it for this one. I'll see you guys very, very soon. Peace.